Clark County Today is presented by Cano Real Estate. Hire an agent, get a team. Learn more by visiting canorealestate.com.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. It's Chris Brown with your daily video update from ClarkCountyToday.com. In COVID-19 related news, Clark County Public Health says 8 more people have tested positive since yesterday, bringing our total to 630 with 28 deaths and 4 people currently hospitalized. Now, none of the new cases were linked to Pacific Crest Building Supply in Ridgefield, where 23 people have tested positive for COVID-19. 34 tests there are still pending. One case not listed in Clark County's total, but still of interest locally, is an employee at A&A. Cowlitz County confirmed that case today, saying the employee is self-isolating and close contacts are being notified. The casino says the employee's area has been fully sanitized and they are taking other precautionary measures. Staff there are asked to wear masks at all times and are screened daily for fevers or other signs of illness. Other employees who came into contact with the case may also be asked to isolate for up to 14 days. Optimism grew Thursday over the possibility schools could reopen for classes next fall. State School Superintendent Chris Reykdal issued guidance developed in partnership with the Department of Health, the Governor's Office, and the Department of Labor and Industry, along with input from a stakeholder group made up of more than 120 educators, parents, community organizations, state legislators, and students. Reykdal said face-to-face learning is the goal, but there are 3 concepts currently being considered for how that might look: split or rotating schedules with distance learning added, a phased-in approach with continuous learning, or an updated remote learning system called Remote Learning 2.0. School districts that meet in person will be required to follow the Department of Health's guidelines that could include requirements around physical distancing, face coverings, and personal protective equipment. The Evergreen School District did its own community survey over reopening next fall. Nearly 10,000 people responded, with 80% in favor of schools reopening as close to normal as possible. Now, 70% said they would support a hybrid model with some remote learning as well as in-person classes, while 40% said they would favor sticking with remote learning entirely if masks and social distancing were still required. Now, Evergreen, Battleground, and Vancouver school districts have said that they are working to implement their own plans based around the state's guidelines, with hopes of bringing them to the community for input later this month. 'Tis the season for road work. Yesterday, we told you about closures coming to Highway 99 in Hazeldale for repaving work. Today, a heads up for you about I-5 southbound. Starting Saturday night, there's going to be lane closures to let C-Tran and WashDOT install bus-only lanes on the left shoulder of the freeway, starting at the 99th Street station down to the Interstate Bridge. To make room for the bus-only lane, the contractor, Tapani, will narrow the regular traffic lanes by a foot from 12 feet to 11 feet. That'll give 14 feet of shoulder space for C-Tran to bypass traffic congestion when speeds drop below 35 miles per hour. The $4.9 million project was funded by a regional mobility grant through the state. Well, where is all of the CARES Act funding? That's the question that is being asked by Clark County councilors. And this week, they sent letters to Governor Jay Inslee, the state legislature, and congressional delegation, urging them to look into the distribution of the federal relief dollars. Clark County, with a population just 7.2% smaller than Spokane County, has received more than 3 times less funding. The county says the state's Office of Financial Management is not following CARES Act guidelines for distributing funds to local governments and shorting the county and its cities more than $71 million. They're also urging the state to make that money available immediately. Now, currently, it can only be issued as a refund for expenses related to COVID-19. The Clark County Council also penned a letter this week condemning systemic racism in the wake of the in-custody death of George Floyd in Minneapolis last month. Now, next week, the full council will consider passing a resolution condemning the death of Floyd and calling for racial equity reforms. An attempt by Councilor Gary Medvedji, a former judge, to include a line urging people to let the justice system do its work was vetoed by the other council members who worried it would come off as tone-deaf, given the belief by many in the black community that the justice system disproportionately punishes them. You can view the full letter in our story at ClarkCountyToday.com. The city of Vancouver has scheduled 2 upcoming listening sessions on the issue of race and equity. The first will be held next Thursday, June the 17th at 4 p.m., with another the following day at 7:30 in the evening. Vancouver Mayor Ann McInerney Ogle, City Manager Eric Holmes, Police Chief James McIlvaine, Assistant Chief Jim Morey, and other City Council members will be part of a listening panel, and members of the African American community are invited to sign up to share their views and stories. The forum will be held virtually and aired on CVTV as well as the city's Facebook page. There's a link to share your story or sign up to speak in our story online. This week, we talked with Rocky's Pizza and the Petra House to see how Clark County restaurants are adjusting to life in Phase 2. Rocky's Pizza was mid-stride on construction when the news came down, so their first customers might have wondered about the bare studs and the smell of sawdust. But the Battleground icon says they had so many people asking if they planned to open, they decided to just get it done. At the Petra House, things have been a little slower to come back around. Employees there must wear masks. Menus are disposable, and tables are fully cleaned between every guest. Under Phase 2, dine-in service is limited to no more than 50% of normal capacity, with table sizes capped at 5 people. Well, one business definitely picking up steam is the real estate industry. Cano Real Estate tells us their agents have been busy during the pandemic, and especially now. The Vancouver real estate company has been using 360-degree 3D camera tech to allow for a virtual tour of many of their properties. For in-person showings, they wear masks and use social distancing, then fully sanitize after each showing. But it seems historically low interest rates and new zero-down loans for first-time home buyers are proving too sweet a deal for many prospective house hunters to pass up, pandemic or not. Lastly, a shout out from our own Paul Valencia to Clark County's own Carl Click, a longtime news anchor in Portland who has received a very special honor this week.
Congratulations to Vancouver's own Carl Click. Spent more than 30 years in the news business over in Portland, but Vancouver was always home to Carl. Well, he got placed into the Silver Circle, inducted into the Silver Circle at the Northwest Emmys. That's at least 25 years of service in the industry along with community service. And if you know Carl, you know he's all about community service. Congratulations, Carl.
All right, thanks for that report, Paul, and congrats to Carl. And there's your look at the stories you'll find this week at clarkcountytoday.com. We're always working on new stuff, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to see when stories are posted and be part of the conversation. If you like what we're doing, consider sharing us with your friends and family. It really helps us out. For all of us at Clark County Today, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.